I mean, the vicious smear campaign is already starting. And for those of you who don't know what this is referencing, Rachel Corrie, who was murdered by the IOF in 2003 when she was purposely run over by their bulldozer, Israelis still to this day laugh about and celebrate her murder by making pancakes with her face on it. I can make a video going in more depth about Rachel Corrie's story for those of you who've been asking if you want, but I don't know if it would be too long because some of you guys don't like when my videos are really long, but like sometimes there's a lot to say. Also, you know you can watch it at 1.5 and 2 times speed. Anyway, Aysenur, I'm sorry if I said that wrong. I'm trying to pronounce it correctly. I think it's Aysenur, is already being smeared by the IOF and by the press and by the Zionists and by the right-wing media. That's what they do. For those of you who aren't that familiar with it but are American, it's very similar to the way that they smear black people in this country that they kill. Think of the murder of Michael Brown or the murder of Trayvon Martin and the murder of Tamir Rice and the murder of Ahmaud Arbery and on and on and on. They never just murder them. They then smear them in their death. Remember Philando Castile, licensed to carry, who was murdered by the police and then they smeared him afterwards. Despite the fact that we live in the country that loves the Second Amendment, you know, but the NRA folk and all the Second Amendment people, no one came out to defend him when he was murdered by a cop for carrying with a license. So all over the media right now, they are smearing her. They're calling the organization that she was with, which is a peace activist pro-Palestinian organization. They're, of course, calling it a terror organization and Hamas, and it's connected to Iran. None of those things are true, but, you know, that doesn't stop them from continuing to say it and lie. And, of course, they're lying about the incident. They're claiming that they threw rocks when actually there is no evidence that anybody was throwing rocks, no evidence that there was even a confrontation. Eyewitnesses on the scene said that there hadn't even been a confrontation. They were just standing there. I'm going to show you guys the area in which they were in. Don't worry, there's not going to be any graphic footage or anything because I want you guys to see how actually like non-regular protest it looked like, if that makes sense. Like non-confrontational. Because I think a lot of times when we hear, myself included, the word they were protesting, you think of a ton of people, chaos, oftentimes the police or the IOF in this case, right up close to them. They weren't at all. You guys, they were like in a village. Look at that. All the trees, the road. If you were to see the video, there wasn't like a lot of commotion. There wasn't a lot of traffic. It looked like just like a backyard of somebody's. It was very quiet. It's a residential area and they were just standing in the grass. There's a better picture that you can find on X if you want to see the background of where they were, but I can't put it here because she's in the photo. So the IOF and the Zionist propagandists coming out and claiming that there was this huge confrontation and they were throwing rocks and la 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 la. All that's made up. All of it's a lie. They were peacefully protesting in this small village. And again, they were doing so because the Israeli regime is continuing to go on land that isn't theirs, that is illegal for them to try to take under international law and just take it. Bulldozing people's houses and building their illegal settlements. She was not a threat. She didn't do anything. People in the area said that it was actually pretty quiet right before they started firing at them. But just to be clear, because this is what they do and they always lie and say that their lives were in danger and they were a threat and la la la, making up stuff, is that even if she was throwing rocks, which again, she wasn't, but even if, that's not an excuse. It's absurd to think that if a civilian who is unarmed threw a rock at a protected soldier who's armed to the teeth and has bulletproof body armor on and tank, that even if she threw a rock, that would somehow be a threat. Ridiculous. And if you were honest with yourself, those of you who are defending this, you would also say that it's fucking ridiculous to say that that would be a threat. In fact, I know you right-wingers would say it because you are the same people that are still screeching about Ashley Babbitt when she was climbing through a window in the Capitol that they kept telling her to stand back from, giving her warnings and telling her not to come in. And you say that that was unacceptable because she was unarmed despite the fact that she wasn't listening to the police and she was breaking in illegally, threatening lawmakers. But you still say that what happened to her was unacceptable. If it's unacceptable that they did that to Ashley Babbitt, then why is it acceptable that they targeted a 26-year-old girl who was unarmed, not trying to climb through a window, not throwing rocks, and just standing there? What's the difference?